So what's up, family? This is your boy CY. This is an episode of the Genesis, but it's about to morph into something else because I got two powerhouses. I got my guy Billy Grubbs. I got Terrell Roberts here. Who knows what we're going to turn this into, because I see something major brewing from these minds that we have in here. So, man, we're just going to have a conversation on manhood. We're going to have a conversation on growth, and we're just going to let God lead and guide this conversation wherever it needs to go. What's up, Billy? How you doing today, man?
Man, I'm good, brother. Just it's a beautiful day in Dallas, Texas. Well, let me be politically correct. We in Frisco. they will get on me if I don't get it right. But yeah, I'm blessed. I'm happy to be here. I'm with my brothers, man. It's already started off an amazing conversation. I'm super excited.
Yeah, what's up, Terrell? How you doing, brother?
Yes, sir.
I'm grateful, bro. I sit back and think about a lot, bro, and how life happens, right? And how God strategically aligns brothers in your life, right? That are not only just showing up in the physical, but their energy is showing up in the spiritual for you when you feel spiritually broken, right? And what I mean by that is when you saw my video, just scrolling. Yeah, you know me. Yeah, you connected to me. Yeah, we rap, right? Yeah. But it's something different when you look up and you scrolling and you're like, energetically, that said something different to me. And so I say that because I've been in this really weird place, right? Because for many that don't know, I moved to Houston from LA, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm originally from Houston, right? Well, I was born in Dallas. Then I moved to Houston as a little boy, right? And so being originally from Houston, and when I moved back, people said, oh, well, you going back home, so it's going to be easy for me. And I was like, yeah, in the natural. Yeah. Right. If I'm speaking from carnality, absolutely. Right. Yeah. It's going to be easy for me. But when you've been on a certain walk, a certain spiritual journey, a certain level of healing, then you now, like the scriptures say, once you're aware of something, you can no longer go back to and pretend like you don't know. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so for me in my spiritual walk, now coming back to the city that I love, the people that I love, the energy that I love, now coming back as a 40-plus-year-old man that done experienced life, right, with my friends in LA, that done build rapport, that done did a lot of overcoming in LA, right? Now being back in Houston, I'm in that solitude that they spoke about Jesus being in, right? I'm in that where God removes every external entity out of your life.
Big facts.
Right? And so that's where I'm at. So to answer your question, I know it's long, but to answer your question, I've been in this weird place just trying to align my chess pieces, right? But also having an understanding that even the greatest chess players take the wrong move at times, right? And so right now, I'm just trying to figure out my puzzle pieces. And in the meantime, in my waiting season that we spoke about earlier, connecting with brothers that can make sense of this journey.
That's real.
You know what's real, though? I'm in that same space right now.
Oh, we all are.
I'm in that. I'm in the wilderness right now, right? Yeah, and so what happens when you're in the wilderness, that's where God begins to put you on the wheel and put you together the way he wants you, because where he's taking you, he needs to know that you can withstand everything that's going to come at you. Right. Because he's going to take you to a height that you've never even imagined, right? He said he'll do exceedingly abundantly more than you can think, or imagine. Right. So he's preparing you to be able to do that, right? And a lot of times what we need to know is God already knows our strengths. He already knows our ability. He wants our availability.
There it is.
There you go.
There it is.
And so when he puts us in the wilderness, that's the test of do I want to make myself available for his use?
There it is.
And so I'm in that same space. Look, I was a sales director, ran a $90 million, had a $90 million sales budget, successful, ended up getting laid off. And at the same time, I'm working towards this speaking thing and impacting, because I've been like Jonah, been running from God for forever, because I just don't want to do that. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I've had all these things where God is like, bro, come on, you got to do what I want you to do. Because if you don't, you're not going to get to where I need you to go. And the final straw for me is, I want my children to live in my blessings, not my curses.
There you go.
And we got to understand that, you might not have, I know you don't have kids right now, but Terrell has kids, and you got to understand what you do now can impact your children for 3 generations.
Oh yeah.
And then it carries through your bloodline. So, as we're talking about all these things that we're talking about, like growing, evolving, becoming better, as you're in that wilderness season and you're in that space where you have people that may not be as evolved as where you were at in LA, because I know you're around some heavy hitters and some people doing big things in LA, and they had that elevated mindset, right? So what are you doing now to like feed yourself and find people that feed into that thing within tarot that that God is developing, so you can unleash it to the world? Because, bro, you're a cold dude, man. You're a cold speaker. The analogies, the metaphors, you come with some stuff. I'd be like, hold up, let me rewind that and think about that. So what are you doing? What are you doing right now to, find that tribe, that culture to push you to that next level? And then I'll, push the question to you as well, BG.
What's that?
Well, I think for me is in this season I'm in right now, I'm learning how to chew again, right? Because it's one thing being in LA and eating from someone else's buffet. But it's another thing when God calls you forward to create your own catering business, right? Because now you're not just adapting your taste to their seasoning, right? Now you got to be able to mix your seasoning not only for your taste, but for the taste of the diabetics of the world,
right?
For the taste of the other sick people in the world, right? And so for me in this season, I'm learning how to cook a recipe that's going to be accepting to the ears that God needs to hear my voice.
There we go.
And I feel like in order for me to do that, I got to have my own taste test, right? And be extremely clear on the menu I want to put out into the world, right? Because it's one thing, for you to create your recipe and you to have it on paper. It's kind of like, when you creating a post for social media, right? And you typing it, and in your head you got it a certain way, but then when you go back and read it, you're like, what? I didn't say that word, right? Because what? Your surroundings, or i.e. Facebook, edited for you based off the way they think you should see it. Right? And so for me, it's about me being certain of the things that I type, even when a Facebooks of the world come in resistance of what I'm putting out into the world.
That's
if
real.
that makes sense.
It
does. What about you, BG?
As far as like my current station and stuff like that.
What are you doing to build yourself up and walk through that door that you dropped that post about?
Door for more,
right.
Door to more. Oh man, I'm being humble to myself, bro. Like I'm giving myself grace in this current season, and I'm realizing that we don't have forever. And so if I'm really wanting to have the life that I want, to create the relationships and friendships that I want, I've got to start being honest with myself and stop standing at the door not knowing how to walk through it. Stop standing at the door wondering like, well, if I do this, what's going to happen? Right. Like we were talking about earlier, wrapped around just like, as we become more, we want to do more, we start realizing we got to separate ourselves from certain conversations, certain people, certain things and whatnot. And even realizing, to Taro's point just now, just realizing that like, sometimes we got to move. We got to relocate. Yeah. Because we got to understand what's for us and not for us. Like I know for me, just being open and vulnerable. I remember when I was living in Washington, I lived in Washington, D.C. for 14 years. And I just got to a certain point, and we've talked about this before, and we've mentioned this at one of the trainings before. I just got to a certain point that I started realizing, like, in all honesty, I feel like I didn't belong there anymore. Okay. I got to a point where, like, even my mentor, Garen Jones, told me, he was just like, I feel like your capacity of leadership is met in DC. Like you're at your capacity. And if you want to grow in your leadership, you need to move and you need to go somewhere else that's going to stretch you some. So what's going to be like, what's your hurdle? What's your movement? What direction are you going to have to go in? And for me, it realized like after my father passed in 21, like I was wide open. That was one of the hardest times of my life right there. To hit me hard. I was like, man, I'm not where I want to be. I don't feel good. I'm depressed. We talked about this before and it just really hit me that like, if I stay where I'm at now, which is comfortable, I'm going to have a comfortable or sub-comfortable life. And I got to stress myself because I know I want more. I'm built for more.
Absolutely.
Like, what I'm saying? You want to be around the right people. So what's that got to look like? And for me, I had, my bucket list of places I wanted to move to. And when my stepmom had moved to Dallas, Texas, and the way she was able to do it so powerfully, so quickly, like, she made a decision and went. And so we talk about the power of a decision, right? Like your decision to move, realizing like, LA, it's LA. So, but if I go back here, like, who am I going to be? I knew I didn't want to move back to Washington State where I was from, but I was like, all right, she moved to Dallas. She made a decision. She went, and it was powerful. What would that look like for me?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what would that feel like for me if I was able to like stand on my one as far as like my manhood and just be like, all right, I can do that. And so when I made that decision within like not having the money to move, not having the mental capacity to wonder what it's going to be like, I'm in a personal development course at the time too, and making that decision to like, you know what, I'm out. I'm gone. Like, I know if I want more, there can't be any more excuses. And so that's been like the common theme. And then when I got to Dallas and we was talking before, you know, I was still into some toxic habits as far as that weren't supporting me and pushing me in the direction I wanted to go. And I had to get honest with myself about that. But I know for a fact that I was missing a church community. I was missing, like, I was wanting to connect with men. Okay. And I was wanting some aspects of what I truly desire. And we talk about like, you know, what you want you to. We talk about that all the time, Absolutely. Right? We talk about what you want, truly want you to, right. But you got to have a committed heart towards that direction.
Absolutely.
You got to be in that space to receive it and want it. And I know I'm giving a long answer around it, but like,
and I heard some power in what you said that I'm sure a lot of people will skip over. Your trust for your aunt.
Yeah.
Because if
your mom.
Your mom. I'm sorry. Yeah, your mom. I'm sorry. Your stepmom. Yeah, that's what it was. Your stepmom. My apologies.
You're good.
But your trust in your stepmom, right? And I say that because before she moved, you don't know what type of level of fear that she had.
Yeah.
Even if she didn't speak it out into the world, right? You don't know internally the things that she was battling. And so for her to step out on her pivot and make a decision that was probably selfishly thinking about herself and what she wanted out of life, not understanding that unconsciously she was providing a lane for Billy, her stepson, to now feel like that was a soft pillar for me to land on, right? And so the messaging in that is oftentimes God puts us in places around people or around gifts that we could use along our journey. The problem with most people is we get upset because the gift doesn't come wrapped in a packaging.
Exactly.
It's never going to come wrapped in a package. It's never going to come wrapped in a package.
But that's the point. But to that point right there, that's exactly what it was. I was literally waiting for something to tell me to go.
Right.
I was waiting for like, it's in a bowl. You're going to be okay.
Right.
Like, go do the deal. You know what I'm saying? And then for me, it was like, nah, it's not going to ever look like that. We always talk about perfection. I was waiting for the perfect moment.
Absolutely.
Like, it's the sun and the moon and the stars align. God doesn't come to me and he's like, go, my son. And I was like, oh, let's go. It's time to go. My money's right and everything.
That's what people, when they fail to understand who we are and what we've been designed to do, right?
Yeah. Right.
I'm gonna give you the best analogy that I found in some reading. So God was really the first project manager in the world.
Okay.
He took some words and he created a project over 7 days. Each day he completed a piece of that project until he got to completion. Then he rested.
Yeah.
We are designed to create. We were designed to be fruitful, to multiply, subdue, and have dominion.
Yeah.
Once we understand that and we understand the power of God's words and what he has given us, you unlock that creative piece to yourself. And as you stick to that word and do what God tells you to do, you can't do anything but win, because he said his word is not going to return to him void. You just have to trust it and understand by faith it all works out. Yeah. It's not going to ever look like you want it to look right. Yeah. But also what I heard you saying that answer was your destiny was tied to your aunt moving, and your mom stepping and doing something that she felt she needed to do. So for anybody on that call, watching this podcast and listening to us, somebody else's destiny is tied to you that are listening to this podcast right now, stepping out and doing something that you feel led to do, something that's in your spirit to do, or something that you feel like is an issue and it just bothers you. A lot of times the thing that bothers you the most, that's probably the thing that God wants you to address.
It's part of your assignment. It's coming at you. It's literally itching at you that like for instance, we talking about the comfort that we were talking about getting uncomfortable early. We were talking about like taking like steps of faith and whatnot. To that exact point right there, that's what hit me. Absolutely. That's what hit you. That's what hit you. You start realizing the fact that like people that are tied to your destiny, you're seeing the possibility, but at the same time, are you actually taking a step forward to do something for yourself? Like, I had to really get out my own way. Once I saw my mom move and how she did it, like, bro, when I talk about a decision was made, she came to visit my sister and then she texted me. She's like, I'm looking at houses. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Like, you've been in North Dallas or North Texas for all of a day. And now you're looking at houses.
Ready to move.
You know what I mean? Ready to make a move because she knew what she ultimately wanted, like, at the end of the day. And sometimes we delay our own process because we think that we're following a path, but it's our path, not God's path. Right. So I talk about that time where, like, I went to a seminar, I went to Gary Jones' seminar, whatnot, did the deal and everything like that. And what I realized, like, and what broke me down, my biggest takeaway from the whole groove was the fact that here I am trying to lead my life, but I'm not allowing faith to lead my life. I'm trying to tell myself what to do. I'm not paying attention to none of the signs. I'm not paying attention to nothing going around me. I've seen powerful brothers. You have moved to Houston. I'm seeing you doing different things in your life, and I'm sitting here just like, I know I'm just waiting. Right. It's going to happen for me. Taro, it's going to happen for you, bro. I promise you. I promise you it's going to happen for me. Hell, even when we talked at one of the trainings that was here in Dallas for the company and whatnot, we were sitting there talking about it. And we were sitting there, I'm sitting there like, yeah, I'm gonna get back to speaking again. I'm gonna get back to hopping out there. And then, like, it's people holding you accountable. It's seeing you start your brand. It's seeing you start your brand. Getting uncomfortable, going to different places that are going to support what you want to do and grow. You can go to all the things in the world, but until you put in action, what does it show? What's the proof in the pudding?
Right.
So, like, so my question to that for both of you is, how do you when you're looking in the mirror and you have that same feeling that you had when you made that move to Houston and you're in the desert right now, right? And when you made that move, how do you get sick and tired of being sick and tired? And what would you tell somebody to the signs of it's time for me to make a move? It's time for me to better myself.
Man, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. And I was just thinking about that when you were just speaking about your move. Y'all, I was so scared.
Yep.
Let me tell you something, bro. Because I was living in LA and I was supposed to make the move like 2 years prior. Right? And I was so scared, bro. I was scared to leave back what I've overcome. Right? Because when I went to LA, I had been homeless, bro. I had no money. Right? I moved to LA. Let me tell you why I moved to LA. I moved to LA because I was so broke in Miami, bro. And I remember like it was yesterday, coming out of my divorce, right? Not having anywhere to go, living in Miami, getting drunk every night on the beach. And initially I was like, oh, this dope. I'm on the beach, I'm drinking, it's nice women out here. Not understanding that what I was doing was pouring poison over my soil, right? And so I ended up moving to LA for 2 reasons. One, because somebody told me that if you come to LA, I can help you get gigs to make an extra $500 a month. And I said, man, if I can make an extra $500 a month coming off homelessness, I can help my daughters more, right? I could possibly get somewhere to stay and add to whatever I have now, right? And so, and the other reason that I moved to LA was because I was like, I gotta get out of Miami because this is poisonous to me, right? And so when I upped and moved to Miami, I was at my lowest. And so not knowing anybody in LA, being broke, hoping and praying for God to bless me with something, right? I met Herbalife. And I met my sponsor who was a woman in Herbalife. Now that already created resistance because my complaint was the woman I just divorced. My complaint was the relationship with my mom. My complaint was all of the ladies in my life not understanding that I held the gun that I was shooting myself with. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And so overcoming all of that, and now, you got to go back to Houston where you divorced at, where you started the homelessness at? So the fear creeped back up. And the reason why I bring that up is because most people can't start, not because they don't desire to, not because they don't have the tools in them. Most people are afraid to start because it forces them to go back to the childhood trauma they've been running from their entire life.
Oh, you ain't never lied.
You see me? And so for me to come back, that was me facing my childhood trauma again. Right? Because no, the divorce wasn't in my childhood. No, the homelessness wasn't in my childhood. But guess what was in my childhood? The relationship with building with my mom. That caused me to attract my wife. Guess what else was in it? Me feeling abandoned as a kid. Right? So now as an adult, I don't want to come back to the same city that I left because I felt abandoned.
Yeah.
Right.
Right? And so for me, it was like, oh no, I don't want to face that again. For God, it was like, oh yes, I need you to attack that head on.
Yeah.
Right? If you're going to go to the places that you're praying to go to, if you're going to go to the places that I called you to go to, I need you to fix a certain part inside of you that you can't even see.
Yeah.
Right? And you're so good at what you do that when you see people making a mistake, you think it's them as an individual making a mistake, but I'm showing you that that's a mirror of you in the shadows that you can't see.
Oh, 100%.
Come on, bro.
You see what I'm saying?
Say that again. Say that again, Taro.
That's what it is.
Say that again.
Right? So when I'm looking at every person I attract, every room that I enter, right? I'm looking at that, oh, shame on you, right? I need to be away from you. Oh, I ain't going in that room again, where God is saying, no, I need you in that room.
Yeah.
Because that room are a lot of mirrors on the wall of things that you dislike about yourself, that you're covering with the way that you look, with the way that you dress, and the way that you speak.
Yeah.
I need you to work on that.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Because that insecurity is going to show up when resistance comes.
Oh,
yeah.
That
You see
makes
what I'm saying?
You got me thinking of a question right now. So when you're saying that and you're leading yourself into these different doors and you're in these different rooms that you prayed for, in some aspect you asked for at some point in time, and God was just like, okay, you said it, so I'm gonna put you in the groove. Let's go.
Right.
Let's see what it looks like. So for both of y'all, like, what does it look like today, now in this current frequency that we're in, for y'all to put your mask down, to be in this new space that you're currently in? Like, what have you had to release to get to this point right now?
For me, I had to release my pride.
Right.
In the fear of looking as like a failure or a dummy in front of the world.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, we got this thing where we don't want people to see a chink in our armor.
Absolutely.
But we are all born with chinks in our armor.
Absolutely.
Nobody came out with perfect armor except for one person. That was Jesus, right?
Right.
But he was God and man. So it's just the fact that I'm free from what you think about me.
Yeah.
I don't care what you think about me, because somebody is waiting for me to open my mouth to save their life, to change their life.
Ooh.
Because what I went through, God has tied somebody's destiny and their breakthrough through me opening my mouth. Because we all have a sphere of influence in this world, right? There's 8 billion people. There's I don't know how, I'm going to say 0.001% of the population resonate with your story.
Yeah.
0.001% of the population resonate with your story. And the same with mine. So if I don't open my mouth, I'm being selfish and I'm not helping somebody make the same mistakes that I made, right? So it's just that fear of looking a certain way or getting outside of the box, right? Carving my own lane, because we're trained to assimilate to society norms, societal norms. But that's not who I was born to be.
Thanks.
I did not beat death 3 times to be just like everybody else. I did not fall out of a moving car, and not get ran over. Almost fall off a cliff in Montana, get shot at point blank range to be like everybody else. So God is saying, I'm placing you to be somebody different, and you walk in what I gave you. Because if you walk like everybody else, you're just as lost as everybody else. And somebody needs what you have to say. Somebody needs to know that you were homeless. Right. Somebody needs to know that you were depressed, because they're sitting there thinking that, oh, I'm the only one going through this.
Yeah.
Right.
And see, that's the trick. That's the trick. It's like the enemy likes to isolate us.
Yeah.
It's like the lion when they chase after the prey. They isolate the weakest one.
Yeah.
When you're in isolation, you get weaker if you're not doing the right things.
Absolutely. Well, for me, so this is funny though, right? Because my whole thing was, I'm going to go to Houston and I'm going to find a bunch of people that relate to me and think the way that I think and speak the way that I speak, and just be in a room with that type of crowd of people, right? And so I was frustrated with God, because I'm like, God, I ain't found none of these people yet. Everybody want to get drunk. Everybody want to do this and do this. Everybody want to party. That ain't me, God. And God checked me quick. And he said, the hospital is for the sick. And he said, I don't need you to go out to learn what you already know.
Right.
I need you to go out to learn what you don't know, and then show them in return what they don't know.
Right.
So it can be an even exchange. And then upon that, you get to now invite people to that buffet that I've been getting you to practice your recipe on.
Facts.
And the other thing I'll say about that too is, you just said something that really resonated with me. I was actually thinking about this. We get so caught up, like if we have a gift, we think we got to be confined to the four walls of a church.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That is not the only place you can use your gift. There's a marketplace ministry that God is like 95% of us will never get on behind a pulpit and preach a sermon.
Absolutely.
But you preach a sermon every day by the way that you live. And God can take that gift that you have and use it in the marketplace to change lives. There's people that need to heal. There's people that need coaching. They need to learn discipline because you can't emulate what you have never seen.
Right.
And so seeing strong brothers that have those traits and qualities is paramount in today's society because there is a group of children growing up without that. Like you said, you had a military dad. I had a military dad.
Yep.
My dad would get something done and it had to get done. So there was a level of discipline that he instilled in me at an early age. A lot of people have not seen that and they don't understand that. So quit waiting for somebody to put you on their platform. Quit waiting for somebody to put you on their stage. Step out on faith.
Yep.
Understand that if it's in you, it's going to come out you. And if you fail, so what?
Yeah.
If you fail, so what? What does that mean?
Right.
You just learned a lesson.
Right.
Now you can revamp, reorganize, and move out again. So I really think that's something that we all need to like be cognizant of is that we all have gifts and they need to be put to use, and we need to maximize the time that we have on earth and understand that it's not going to look a certain way. It's going to look the way God wants it to look. You just do the work to get to the place where you can unlock the gift.
And you know what? I got a quote that goes along with that. And it says, victory isn't had if you reach the finish line and failure wasn't a benchmark along your journey.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? Victory wasn't had if you reach the finish line and failure wasn't a benchmark along your journey. And that speaks to everyone wanting to go to A to Z, and they think that's the end of, the process.
Yeah.
But the true teaching is inside of what you learn along your journey, because you can start and you can finish, but that ain't enough to teach somebody else that need the understanding and the wherewithal to push through when that resistance comes.
Right.
Oh, that's a fact, man. When we look at when we look at the overall journey of what we're creating and what we want, man, it's a beautiful process and it's a haze at the same time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you sitting there pushing for something, you're striving for something. If you don't believe that failure is not going to be part of the process at some point in time and you're going to get beat up over it, I don't know if this life's for you. Like, let's just be honest with, like, you got to think about how many people, we all work with people, you know, one-on-ones and stuff like that. And so we got to think about it. How many people do we come across that are almost ready to give up just because they hit a bump in the road?
Pretty much.
Or we see, all the time. Or we're online or something like that, and we're seeing these stories in this different caliber of conversation that's happening, and people just don't know how to move forward through a tough time. Life's going to be tough.
And what's crazy is, I was telling my daughter on the way, because she said, Dad, I want to drive. And normally when we go on the road, I like to let her drive because it's a clear road.
Yeah.
And so she was driving, and I'm correcting her on certain stuff, and I'm pretty patient, right? And she's like, I don't want to drive no more. I said, I said, because if you can't handle my critiques in the car, you won't be able to handle you in the car by yourself when 100%. People are all over the road moving. I say, listen to me. I'm trying to show you a way that could benefit the things you can't see.
Yeah.
Right? And you getting frustrated, your frustration is based off the things you can see. So what I would ask you to do is borrow my glasses.
Yeah.
Right?
Ooh, borrow my eyes. There you go.
Because that allows you to see beyond the resistance that you hold within yourself and to answer your question. That's most people. Yeah. Right? Even me, right? As strong as people see me, I tensed up coming around this side because I was like, wait, the car just said we was in here. I'm knocking on the window. And that little fear inside of me said, oh, am I at the right place?
Yeah.
Right? And so to answer your question, that could even happen for us unknowingly in the smallest of circumstances.
That's part of the game, though.
That's 100, though. But here's a couple of things, right? It is not faith until it's tested.
Absolutely.
Ooh, yeah, there we go.
You don't know you have faith until your faith is tested.
Absolutely.
And then what you were saying about your daughter using your eyes to see, right? It's funny you say that. I read a scripture this week. It's Psalms 32nd chapter, the 8th verse. And it says, God says, I will instruct you and teach you and guide you with my eyes. So that's that faith, right? Because he said we walk by faith, not by sight.
That's right.
Sight is my vision. Faith is God's lens.
Right. Faith is being assured of what you hope for and certain of what you do not see.
Yeah. So what do you guys feel like your lane is, or the space that you're meant to touch? Like, so for me right now, I think one of my favorite lanes is helping men overcome and transform trauma issues, and then creating them to be helping them become influential leaders, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that's the lane that God has carved out for me. One of my primary lanes. What's your primary lane, and what type of person would you be a good fit for to help?
Well, strange enough, now I'm dealing with a lot of men in regards to their healing, specifically to the heart.
Yeah.
Right. But I started off with nothing but women. Right. And those women were a mirror to my relationships in regards to women.
Yeah.
Right. And so initially it was women. Now it's men. So it's kind of all over the place as far as anybody, because I do kids too. But specifically heart work, working on your heart, internal pain, internal struggle, and how to sew that heart together and then walk into the world with that now healed heart. Right. Because a lot of people go to counseling, a lot of people heal certain things, but they don't know how to operate in the world with their healing.
There it goes.
Right. And so that's a key piece that most people miss out on. So I enjoy sharing from that space.
Yeah.
This is where I was. This is how I overcame. And now let me show you what to do with where you were and how you overcame for somebody that's going through those same trials.
Oh, that's real. I would say for myself, like we're all in alignment. That's why we pretty much connected also. Man, I have an affinity and a passion for supporting men, like in every asset and facet of their lives when it comes to vulnerability, understanding, what it means to be in your divine, masculine and feminine, and understanding how that work plays in your everyday life. Right. And at the same time, freeing them from past traumas, past addictions, and showing men how to have grace for themselves.
Absolutely.
And really step into what grace looks like in to your every single day, everyday life.
Right.
How are you flowing and how are you moving every day that's supporting yourself in your growth? And how are you sharing that with others? And who are you being around others? Because a lot of times we get lost in the idea of we don't know who we're being, and we're literally tearing ourselves apart at the same time because we don't know who we are. And the last part of it really is like redefining what it means to be a man. Like breaking old habits or breaking old stories that we have playing in our mind as far as what we all grew up.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like men can't be vulnerable, men can't cry, men can't do this, or, a man saying, speaking on his true feelings makes him sassy. Right. That's the new thing. They calling it sassy for standing up. Not even say stand up for yourself, but just speaking what's on the heart.
Time, bro. I see that all the time.
Well, I guess I'm sassy.
but I would ask you to that though, is what's your definition of grace, and how do one obtain grace? Because for me, grace causes you to let your guard down.
Yeah.
Right. First with yourself and then with other people. And that brings out a certain level of transparency.
Yeah.
Right. And that level of transparency is honestly what prevents a lot of men, black men more specifically, from stepping out and doing whatever they need to do. So to your statement, what would you say? And then you can answer it too, because I would like to hear your feedback. What would you say is the best way to obtain grace for yourself?
Oh man, I love that question, brother, because it really, I use this analogy all the time. I call it peeling back the onion. And so you got to peel the onions, the layers of what you believe it is that's holding you back from giving yourself grace. And what grace really looks like is, to your point, openness, vulnerability, and letting your guard down. Well, one, what's stopping you from letting your guard down? What are you worried about?
Right.
We only deal with two things in this world, people and personalities. You can't control either one.
Absolutely.
And on the flip side of it, as you keep peeling back that onion, what part of you doesn't allow you to want to be vulnerable? What's holding that aspect back? Right. What's holding you back from saying how you truly feel? Does it make you feel like less of a man? Does it make you feel that you won't be heard? Because if you think about it, a lot of men, they feel if I say how I really feel, I won't be accepted. Absolutely. Or I won't be heard. Or I'm not, the respect's huge for us. You know what I mean? That's in my opinion, the foundation of a lot of it. But what grace really looks like is just being kind to yourself, man. Realizing that I don't have to be perfect, because a lot of us men, we walk around feeling like if I don't get this right, I lose everything.
Absolutely.
If I fall apart, that's my family.
Right.
If I don't make enough money, I won't be seen or heard. And a lot of times realizing that grace the beautiful part about grace is you're allowed to put all that down and realize like, Terrell, I'm struggling.
Absolutely.
You know, see why I'm not doing good, brother.
Right.
Or for some of us, you know what I mean? Like some of the men out there going to your lady and just being like, I just need to be held.
Is that possible though? Like
very much so.
And when I say possible, I know it's possible for somebody to have a higher understanding.
Yeah, 100%.
But now we talking about your run of the mill guy that comes from the same hoods we come from.
Yeah.
When you start to talking about going to somebody say, I need help. Bro, I'm hurt.
Yeah.
Right? To even telling your woman, because now when we start to talk about that, now the conversation has to start with how are we with our black women?
Yeah.
Right? And how can we operate in a world where our moms with our age told us not to cry, wipe your tears, don't show that unnecessary emotion, right? Yeah. And we were raised that way, and then now we dating women that says that they want this, but their actions don't show that they have their arms open for you to hold. Now, I'm not talking about the type of women we attract. Because obviously, once you reach a certain level, there's a certain level of attraction. But I'm talking about to your run-of-the-mill guy. That from the hood, they struggling, they in pain, they broke, they trying to figure their life out, and energetically, internally, they don't have it. What would you say to those type of people?
I would say, first of all, you got to be honest with yourself, right? And give yourself the ability to understand that you're going to make mistakes. You are not perfect. You are not the only person that's facing these issues.
Right.
Also, you need to understand that, you know, your greatest pain and your greatest pleasure are going to come from the same place, and that's from a relationship. Right. Usually a person that you're in close concert with, right? So what you got to understand is I can't allow my inner me, the enemy, to start to beat me up, because now I open up Pandora's box and open up gates to bad decisions, feeling sorry for myself, being lackadaisical, and not following through. So understanding that, okay, I had a bad day today, but I need to do better tomorrow.
100%.
Like, yeah, it's okay to have a bad day. We all have bad days. We all have a bad week. But I need to do better for myself, because for me, I have people depending on me, my children, right? And the main thing is I don't want them to repeat my sins, and I don't want them to pay for my sins. So I have to understand that I am prone to make mistakes. I've been making them my whole life. That ain't fixing to stop.
Yeah.
But I understand that I am loved by God to begin with, and that he created me to be fearfully and wonderfully made, right? So for me, it's understanding what the word says and really taking that thing in heart and let it permeate my soul. Yeah. And then understand how to use that when things begin to happen in my life. So that's how I would say, and just understand that there's no person that's walked this earth that has not failed. There's no person that has walked this earth that has not made a mistake. And that very person that you're looking up to and thinking is all that, they are wrecked behind closed doors too. They're just barely holding it together. Just like we talked about earlier, you know, you were wrecked, you know, thinking about this, you have an issue thinking about, we all have them. The only thing is that we overcame them. We stepped outside of our fear and understood that it's bigger than that.
Right.
I mean, that's powerful. And when I think about that overall question that you just asked, Harold, just what hits me the most is that, like, you gotta check your circle, man.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You gotta realize, you know, one, are you in a safe space? And hell, like I've been in situations where, you know, you get into a serious conversation, you around all your boys and stuff like that, and then you realize that, like, they on joke time around something your real pain. Right. And it's not to. What I learned was not to shame my friends because they're not in the same space or development that my mind is in when it comes to, you know, open matters. Some people just, they haven't crossed that threshold just yet.
Right.
And so it's realizing that, like, the people I can have a conversation with, the people that I can grow with, like, the elevation is going to create separation, and I'm going to attract the circles that I need to be around.
Absolutely.
I'm going to attract the partner in my life that knows how to hold for me in the spaces of, like, pain or the spaces that, like, realizing that, like, sometimes I don't need to say nothing. Just give me a hug, man.
Right.
Because the world beat me up today. Whatever reason, or I'm just sitting here working, and, like, what's going through my mind as far as what success looks like and what creation looks like for my next level is hard. It's heavy. Right.
But you know what? What's even more powerful, bro, is you have a certain level of awareness to even speak that. Because now we start to talk about manifestation, right? And manifestation is merely your highest being or your highest perfect self inside of you, speaking into the world all of the perfect things of God that you are looking to attract in the physical form.
Oh, yeah.
And so for people that don't believe in something deeper than their highest thoughts, right? Mm-hmm. For people that don't even believe in manifestation, for people that don't even believe in speaking life into themselves, now you face a whole nother battle. Right? Because those same people that don't speak those positive words out of their mouth, those affirmations, are speaking it internally in pain. Right. And they're responding with that pain, and the world around them are responding to that same pain.
Well, because it's also, it's confronting.
Yeah, right. Yeah, man, this is a great conversation. We going to have to wrap it up though, fellas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Man, we're gonna have to definitely pick this back up and continue this.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I don't know. I don't know what y'all would like to.
Terror in the City now.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna call this, but we're gonna definitely
tap in, man.
Tap back in.
Energy is gonna name it. Energy is gonna connect it. Energy is gonna build on top of it.
Yeah, right. So one thing I like to do in closing, just give me a real quick hot bar for somebody. You know, a hot speech bar that you live by.
But I can just only go off of where my current state is right now, man. Like, go through the door more. Like, don't sit there and stand back and look at it anymore. We know that we want more. We know we want to do more. And don't worry about that ripple effect, because your journey is your journey.
Right.
So run through it, open it, take on what you got to take on, and do the work.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What about you, Taro?
Mine is stop walking your path with dirty shoes on.
Ooh.
Because someone has to walk that same path.
Yeah.
And if they walk in that same path, they're going to collect that same dirt that you refuse to wipe off your shoes.
Yeekers.
That boy is spitting.
Dude, that's a bar. That's a bar. You see, that's like Jay-Z when we heard that beat. Hey, that was hot, man. Appreciate that. For me, I would just say, remember, when you sow a thought, you reap an action. When you sow an action, you reap a habit.
Boom.
When you reap a habit, you reap your character. When you reap your character, you reap your destiny.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
Hey, this has been
Let's get it.
Taro Roberts, Billy Grubbs, your boy CY. This was an episode of the Genesis, but it's about to morph into something even greater.
And shout out to you, bro, because you put this together, and it takes a lot to be able to do that and stand firm and create all of this in the background to get us here. So I salute you and celebrate you for taking your time and doing this too, bro.
Hey, we about to iron sharpen iron. We about to change some lives. I said I want to impact 1 million, but now I got y'all. We're going to do about 5 million.
There you go.
At least 5 million. Hey, we appreciate
that's
you.
Bar right there.
Salute to my guy, D. Johns on the camera.
John, my man. Thank you, brother.
The quality is about to be amazing. We appreciate your time. This has been the Genesis. This is your boy CY, and I'm gone. All right.
Let's go. That was love, man. That was